we're going to talk about something that you have been talking about a lot in your class, and I feel like you're going to enjoy this topic. It's called the 10-year-old me. And so you've been exploring that like in your classes lately. Can you like just talk a bit about that?
The theory is when you learn to survive, that survival mechanism becomes your primary identity. By that, you can never wake up to thriving. And the survival mechanism, through research, to some studies has shown, happens about 10 years old. You're not a baby anymore. You're not even a young adult. At 10-year-old is that period in which you learn to cope. You learn politics, you learn to smile, you learn to manage. You become a survivalist.
It's almost like you kind of like come into consciousness at that age.
At that age, and then you're managing things and you're becoming a survivalist. What happens is, when you learn to survive, that becomes the entire reality. Very few people can ever go beyond that into a thriving. Take it like this. When people look for money, they look to survive. Very few thrive. A relationship, after some time, as long as you don't fight, it's good. Only in the beginning, it's romance. Afterward, if there's no trouble, it's good. If I ask somebody, how's your relationship? Well, good. What they mean by good is there's no trouble. So the survival part takes over and blinds us from the truth of thriving. Yes, we do read in the magazines, we hear some people making it, some people having an exceptional life. It becomes a fantasy. And many people will pretend to thrive, to say, I want to be successful. But actually what they are doing is they are caught in the loop of survival. And the moment you are trapped with the habit mindset only for survival, you will never thrive. Then life is more like enduring. Life is more like getting by. And this actually happens at the late 20s, early 30s, you settle in, At 10 years old, you develop the thing. Maybe by 17, 18, you start challenging that idea. You become a bit more like, I'm going to make it. It becomes a fantasy. And somewhere in mid-20s, late 20s, you hit reality. You get a job, you start working, and you go like, oh my God. Then you resort back to live out survival. And in a lifetime, most people worship only survival more than anything. I'll tell you something about North Korea, what I read, They were promised 2 meals with meat. 2 meals with meat. And they were enslaved by that. 2 meals with meat. Which means they tap into the survival mind of people. I am saying, until you break the survival mind and move into living in thriving, you are not living at all. Right? So the base psychology that has to be changed, which I think is going to be almost downright impossible, because people are not aware. The moment they become aware, you can begin to take steps to rehabilitate. If my body is not ill, I'm good. Not that I'm fit, not that I'm healthy. As long as I am not ill, I'm good. As long as I'm not broke, it's good. As long as we are not fighting, it's good. If you see social politics in our world, as long as we are not at war, it's good. Not that we are celebrating humanity.
Yeah.
So the theory is the 10-year-old child, we're just using that word as a 10-year-old child, the habit and the mindset you created might grip you and keep you trapped for the rest of your life. And that is the number one cause of why life appears the way it is. But let me touch on this. If you want to go into this, what is life for most people? What is it for most people?
Survival.
Survival. Most often we have a fantasy. I want to meet the right person. I want to be rich. I want to have we have some fantasy. But overall, life is just survival.
So would you say that like people want to just survive their inability to be lonely? They want to survive their need for for company because they don't want to face themselves, in a
No,
sense.
it's something like this. You don't know anything else. Almost everyone you met are in the survival mind, very well camouflaged. One guy survives with $100,000 a year. One guy survives with $1 million a year. But they're all in surviving. We haven't defined what thriving is. Thriving is, I am not the guy I was yesterday. I'm something more today. My life is expanding. My horizon is growing. My humanity is growing. I don't even think the majority of humanity can grasp what thriving is. And let me go into my subject. Why thriving is important? Only in thriving, this truth of your enlightenment, your awakening, your love, your truth, even comes into discussion. You understand?
So, okay, let's analyze you.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Where were you at 10? Who were you at 10?
You sure?
Let's do it.
No.
You want to do me?
No. Then I'm involved in it. I think, okay, if I take me, I just
It's easy I think it's easier when we've put the theory down now. We need to exemplify it.
No, I'll give you a little quote. I mean, your mother has been doing a lot of this with the students. And this is very exciting when she did. Whenever they put the map down, they would go like, oh my God, what has happened to me? Like when I was 10, my mother went to work. My father had to go out station to work. My mother went to work. So I became the head of the house. That's what happened. About 10, 11 years old, I became the head of the house. So I don't think I developed a survival mechanism. I think I was very lucky. I did not live just thinking about survival. That's why I never even had a job in my life. I never worked for anybody. It didn't even occur to me to find security. I was always doing something on my own. I was always risking. People will say risking, but I was just living. I was thriving. I was going from one thing to another, to another, to another. I was expanding. I'm starting something all the time. So I suspect that the survival mind was not formed for me. Somehow it didn't happen. There was a glitch. So in my head, if I can do this, I can do that. If I can do that, what more can I do? If I've done this much, how much more can I do? And that's how I went. So I don't think I ever dropped into survival.
Could it be that what you formed was a need to be responsible for everybody around you?
Yep, I did. I was taking care at 10 years old.
Almost like, okay, I don't really need to worry about me. I'm going to make sure everything's like done. I'm going to do what I need to do.
Yeah. That's what I did.
That is a personality trait of yours that exists to this day.
Yeah. Yes, that was. But, sorry, I must tell something about my father. Even though he was, in some sense, a man who survived his whole life, but he had a very thriving personality, very happy personality. More studying, reading, exploring something new, right? Surviving personality happens when you're in a situation that is not supporting you from blooming. If you say, I don't talk about you, but if you say you were a survival mind, I don't think so. You were thriving to a large extent. You were learning to dance, you were learning to do this.
But when I was 10, all of that stopped.
For a while.
Yeah. But at that formative point.
Yeah. But also when it stopped, you also traveled the world. Yes, I'm not agreeing that you had to survive, but your thriving was never...
I didn't feel like I had to stop thriving, but I did feel like in order to feel like I could thrive, I knew that you guys were going through something really stressful. So I felt like I couldn't, because if you guys are not happy, how can I be happy?
Maybe part of your survival mechanism might be only when I make everybody happy, I can thrive.
Yeah.
You see, we are just using a simple word, thriving and surviving. There's a whole range within it. Whole range within it, But all I'm saying is, were you broken to survive? Or is there a thriving? If not, how you could have made a life change?
I think at that point, because when I won't give so much context, but there was just a very stressful time for us as a family that I could see that you were at a point of needing to survive, and you didn't want to show it to us, but I think you didn't realize how much we could see.
I know, of course.
And I think like in seeing that you were in survival, you still want, like, it's like, no, you guys be happy, you guys talk, we're here, we're there. But almost like I didn't want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because how could I if you're not,
Right.
if you're not feeling up for it, you know?
You see, you're bringing out the theory. What actually happened there? And did it stay on? The question is, it is not a problem going through a tough time.
Yeah.
Did the tough time created a permanent state of you, or did you pass by that? If you pass by that, you survive a tough time. That means you will thrive. Whenever there is, see, it's very critical. It is not such a block, In that situation, it was tough, but you did come back. You did do well. You did.
No, but I think that I did survive it, but I did create a personality trait from it.
Of course.
That was to be that kind of person that wants to take care of other people.
Right.
And be there for other people.
Right.
So that I don't have to try, because I don't want to if I see you like that.
Right. Agreed. So now you're analyzing.
Yeah.
So in that formative years, whatever that is formed, there is a danger for the majority. That is all it will be for the rest of their life. All right? So the exercise is to be able to know it and to find how you can place yourself in a space you are thriving. So the question is very simple. Is your psychology, your mind, your view only to survive? Or is there a part of you that can thrive? It's like this, See whether I don't mess up this story. Bata, it seems from what I heard, the story of Bata. The shoe.
That? Oh, the shoe.
The shoe. They sent a guy to Africa. He went, he landed, he went out, he looked around, took the next flight, came back. Said, why you came back? Nobody's wearing shoe, how am I going to sell it? They said, yeah, you're right. Then they sent the next guy. He never came back for 25 years or something. You know what he thought? Nobody's wearing shoe. My God, how much shoe can I sell when I teach them? So there's two sets of mind.
Yeah.
Thriving is an innate nature of you waking. You see, there's a lot of this talk about enlightenment, awakening, meditation. What people don't understand is you can meditate to cope, to survive, but by right, real meditation is you wake up to thrive. Hang on, For the audience that are listening, you should almost get disgusted by me. What are you talking about thriving? Do you know how hard life is? I am not fighting you. I can almost hear them. You know what I went through? This is what people will say. So there is a rejection to thriving. Because thriving has become an impossibility for some. But I'm saying the impossibility of thriving, more than socio-economic reason, more than the reality, it's an inner state. Sometime in the hardest situation, somebody thrives. Sometime in the best situation, somebody collapses, right?
No, like literally, I was just talking to a friend about this. Like I had like two friends this year. One of them, she went through cancer at 25 and we watched her go through that. And then I had another friend literally get everything of his dreams and lose it.
Right.
And she went through literally 25 years old, chemotherapy, lost her hair. And I kept telling her, I am so beyond impressed with you, the way you are handling this.
I saw her the other day and she looked amazing.
I know, she looks like a model, with her bald head. Like, I cannot.
I didn't know she was bald.
But, no, she had a wig on.
Oh.
But, when I watched her go through something that I think I would literally crumble if it was me, with so much grace and still joy. And I was like, you, so impressive. And then on the flip side, I saw someone get everything they wanted and spoil it.
You see, I think it's a word Paul uses, resilient. Paul uses the word resilient. But we are not going to resilient. We are just saying the psychology that you created at 10. Like I created a psychology, I have to be responsible, I have to settle everyone. I was the head, I'm responsible. Let's do this, let's make it happen. At the same time, have time to do the child thing. I took care of all the chores, but that never stopped me in any way to go out and do all those things I did out there.
But I think that's also like you, right? Like in order to do the thriving thing, you made sure all your responsibilities were done first.
Okay, and then you can say that's your psychology.
Yeah.
You do your, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You see, there is no perfect model. But the only question is, are you thriving? Are you waking up? or you are caught in survival. You must understand, when somebody is caught in survival, survival is the only truth they have. Anybody thriving, they feel challenged, For a sad person, really sad person, somebody being happy can be like an insult to them,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And thriving does not need a goal. It's a state of being. It's a state of what is next? Expansion, more. If you really understand celebration, it looks for a peak, Celebration is taking what is here and you're waking up to its peak, right? Then we think at the peak you collapse. No, that peak becomes the base. Now from that peak, which is a base, you are growing again. So thriving is this upflow of energy.
I think maybe like what people think is that like, because there's a part of what you're saying is that like in order to thrive, I have to face myself. I have to look at this 10-year-old self or whatever, this formative self.
Right.
And that process is not very comfortable. It's also very like, you have to accept accountability. You have to become self-aware. And you have to be like, oh, what? All these bad things happened to me. What is my role in it? What did my psychology also have to do with it? Which is hard for people because sometimes it's like, I didn't deserve for this to happen to me. No, you didn't. But you still have a choice in your life.
Right.
And like to get there, I think they think it's supposed to feel good, but it doesn't always feel good.
Like Paul's theory of the rover sitter driller. You have to wake up to be a rover. Only a thriving person will be rowing. Most are sitters. The majority is sitter. They will opt to survival. Occasionally, if they have the right opportunity, they will row. They will thrive. I'm asking, maybe this is a question. Are you in a space that you are thriving? That's all. Wherever you are, do you make it bloom? Wherever you are.
I saw this thing on Twitter the other day and they were talking about like manifestation and sort of like, bringing the life that you want. And he said, if you want to just look at a simple, like, tangible realization of it, it's look at your bedroom. When you went into your bedroom, it was plain. And then you brought all this life to it. And they're like, you just thought it and then you made it happen. It's like super small, but that is how you bring life, bring something to life.
Right.
Bring like like an outward expression of you to life.
Right.
And I thought it was like such a simple way to understand how it's you.
Right.
At the end of the day that brings it to life. And it's you facing it that brings it to
Okay,
life.
I give you something. This is some kind of ancient spiritual truth.
Yeah, I'm extremely familiar with all of that.
They have one belief, if you evoke and hold something to reach the highest, it will come into being. That's why I was telling Paul, when he created the rover sitter drill, I said, do you know what you have done? You have brought logic to something they've been practicing for thousands of years. This waking up. You cannot be in one moment not in that upflow. I'm not saying you cannot feel down, you cannot feel stuck. So the 10-year-old that is registered probably is not for that upflow. It is just to survive. So the transition is from just surviving, how can I wake up to this upflow? Which is what you really are that has been interrupted. And this is the discipline. But let me tell you something. We grow up around people who are super survivalist. You talk about thriving, it's an insult. I remember, actually, I don't know, 21, 22, I don't know what are they. I made a huge amount of money. I had a business, I made money. I remember going home and telling them what I made and showing my account. I remember all of them looking at it for a long time. The next day they said, that doesn't count. I said, what do you mean that doesn't count? No, you didn't work hard enough. We worked 30 years. We worked this. That doesn't count. It's like almost I cheated. No, I said I didn't cheat. I ran a business. I did this. I did this. I worked hard. I worked 15 hours a day. For them, it's like, no. So in their brain, that is not a reality,
Yeah.
right? In their brain, surviving with little money is everything. That means they never even thought about
Because
thriving.
they've built like an identity around it.
And survival has a certain advantage. You never risk. Survival, you never risk. So
But-
there's a certain kind of comfort. But let me ask this question, because we have short time in doing this. You have to challenge the survival mind. We must thrive. You see, based on division of race, culture, religion, politics, this, that, the whole humanity just surviving.
No, and I think that like sometimes it feels like you're more deserving because you work hard, but I've come to accept that at least for me things happen easily.
No, because you know what?
And I'm just gonna enjoy that. Am I supposed to feel bad?
No, you should not feel bad because you were trained to thrive.
And I used to feel bad
you said
about
a
it.
10-year-old, when we were going through the difficult period, we still came out flying colors,
Yeah.
We still came out beautiful. We still came out glorious. We didn't collapse. It was difficult, but we did came out
Yeah.
thriving.
Yeah.
So that is there. So I'm asking, are you moving towards waking up, or are you caught by this 10-year-old that found method to survive the surrounding? By that, you are preventing the more from happening.
They say that the first voice in your head is your mother's voice.
Oh my God, I hope
Yeah. And then the second.
not. Stop it.
Do you believe in aliens?
Have you met my mother? Sorry. My mother-in-law passed away, so I will not make fun of her anymore.
No, she was not an alien. She was just perfect. But that first voice is your mother's voice, and then the second voice is yours. And that is like if your parents shaped a reality that the struggle is necessary and thriving is impossible, that first voice is always going to
Yep.
be that.
Now, what the audience can take away is, do you create a family, an environment that people can thrive? You see, this I must tell about Zarina and your mother.
Sharina.
Sharina. Sharina is my daughter's dance teacher from about 6 years old.
Yeah.
I remember putting you all in the school and I used to sit there and watch you all train. What I wanted you, I know you're not going to be professional dancers. Sorry, even that age, I kind of predicted now. They're not going to be professional dancers. They're pretty good, but they're not going to make a living out of dancing. That was part of thriving. Do you know Sharina brought that? Now you have a team of the dance step kids,
Yeah.
which now you live with and all that. One thing she installed in them is that more. Through dancing, thriving, looking good, performing. So you were in an environment of elite group of people who were not just studying to go to university. You also were doing things to celebrate, to enjoy life.
Yeah.
So you are surrounded by people, and you must, if Zarina is listening, thank you.
No, there's always she's half made me the woman that I am.
Yeah.
Like,
No. Actually, when
Yeah.
I was picking the teacher, I was looking for someone. I used to tell this story, I was looking for someone that my daughters can steal some of their quality. And I saw it in her. She was very young.
yeah, she's so young. She's 24 or something.
When she
right?
started it, she was
Yeah.
young, she was beautiful, she was a dancer. And I wanted that, but it has nothing to do with survival. You didn't go there to learn how to survive. You went there, all your dancing, the money we spent, did not end up anything, but it ended up
Just a
with one thing.
12-minute Bollywood number at
Yeah.
my
there is
friend's wedding.
No, but you are thriving. Do you get it?
I get it.
Little India has a music system, all the classical, the Carnatic. If you ever follow the Carnatic music, it is to evoke the thriving in you,
No,
At
it's
the
like
peak of thriving is divinity.
It's
Sorry?
like when I put on the tap shoes the other day.
Yeah.
I could not stop tapping for half an hour, and it
Okay,
was
now-
just fun.
No, listen, let me point this out. Save it from collapsing, because at any point somebody can collapse into survival too. not just a 10-year-old. You have to go against the pressure of the world that thinks thriving is disgusting. To me, you know what is communism? Thriving is disgusting, survival is everything. I won't say I'm a capitalist, but I'll vote for capitalism against communism because communism makes survival everything. Capitalism has a room for thriving, has a room for celebration, has the room for more. But now what the communists will say, if you have all to celebrate, we will have none. That's a wrong logic.
I believe in actually like opulent communism.
That is a that is a just capitalism. But here again, I think what I'm concerned about is people rejecting thriving. Osho came up with the terminology, and he's the only one who can come up with these words. He says, Zorba the Buddha. Zorba, the richest man on earth. The Buddha, the meditator. He's saying, at least the way I heard it, the meditator who can thrive. You understand? Like, what is that book? If somebody bring that book, the Paul's book. What is that?
Who the fuck are you?
No.
How to build a winning team.
How to build a winning team. I think he is talking about thriving.
Yeah.
I think he's talking about thriving. I'll show this book.
Buy it. We'll link it.
Yeah.
So, you know, the other day, I think it was a few episodes ago, we were talking about like the outward reflecting the inward, right? And like, I was just like, because I obviously like am all over the place about it, but it's like, I was thinking about like, you know, those people like, you know, like Imelda Marcos and even Kim Kardashian, all these people that are super capitalist, you know, it's like opulence beyond belief.
But that is not necessarily thriving, you know.
No.
That is survival gone mad.
But it's also like the outward, like the extent of the outward motion is so far, but like it stems from like a very like shallow inside.
No, the survivalist ill is when they go out and want to grab all the money in the world. Thriving is something else, you know. Thriving is like the rainforest. Everything blooms. You must understand. Having all the money in the world is not thriving.
Okay, but you remember someone like Isabel? Like I felt that like at least I was so young when I knew her that like her inward was like so deep that even like that rich auntie vibe she had was like joyful and like generous and it didn't feel like like the way it feels when you watch some other people who are like so showy and flashy and you know what I mean, right?
Like Appa's work, my work can only reach the people who understand thriving rightly. The survivalists cannot grasp what I'm saying. Whatever I'm teaching, the survivalists cannot get it. They said the first part of the teaching or the learning is they try to walk away from that survival mind into thriving, into blooming. Blooming does not mean outward only, you know. Blooming is within. I'm not against nice cars, nice house, have it. But how you know it's faulty is that's all they have. There's nothing inward.
Yeah.
Right. Then all they have is money and big house. These are the so-called rich people. They are not rich. They are covering their poverty. That is still survival. Thriving is a life lived, expanding, in celebration. It is like changing the entire vibe around you. But stop, this much we can talk. See whether being in this state, will you be challenged? You can figure out what happened to you at 10 years old.
Okay, before we end, I know you freaking people in the comments always like, she can't stop bringing up RuPaul. RuPaul's Drag Race.
You say what? On ball?
No, can't stop bringing up RuPaul. But like on RuPaul's Drag Race, they always like, in the last bit of the season, they'd be like, what would you say to the 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old version of yourself? What would you say to the 10-year-old version of yourself? If the 10-year-old you were standing here.
Go, boy. Even the little hesitation you have, drop, go. Have faith. Just go. I would have told my 10-year-old, because I think there were times I thought maybe, you know, maybe I should pull back. Maybe I should. Yeah. I would say go. Risk it. Go. Just go. Whatever comes, comes. That's what I would have said. I would have said, Don't consider the drillers too much. That's what I would have said. Do not even give 1 ounce of energy to the drillers, to the negative people, to the people who exaggerate surviving as something. Just don't even give them an ounce of energy. Just embrace the people that are thriving and live an exceptional life out, is what I would say to the 10-year-old.
Nice. Okay.
Check out this book. It's out. Where is it? Is it Amazon?
Yeah, we'll link it.
Mr. Paul Fire.
And comment down below. What would you say to your 10-year-old self?
Yep. Comment down below. She will read and tell me.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.